My wife cheated on me with my father. That's not a sentence you ever expect to write, much less live through, but here we are. If you're already judging me for not blowing it up the second I knew, save it. I didn't want a scene. I wanted a controlled demolition. And this is the night the first stick of dynamite clicked into place. It was my mom's 58th birthday, small family dinner at my parents' place. Nice house in the suburbs with a stupidly perfect lawn my dad obsesses over. Dad is the Silver Fox, ex-regional VP with a golf tan type. Charming when he wants to be, funny after 2 bourbons, too touchy when he's 3 in. Mom pretends not to notice, it's their decades-old dance. My wife, Lena, always dressed up for these things. She looked insane that night, black dress, red lipstick, those delicate gold hoops I bought her last Christmas. She kissed my cheek in the car and said, "Be nice tonight, okay?" I laughed. To my parents? Always. Dinner was normal. Mom told stories, Dad held court, Lena laughed a little too loud at his dumb jokes. I clocked it and let it pass. Then after dessert, Dad asked Lena to help him carry a case of wine up from the cellar. "These stairs kill my back," he said, rubbing the same back he used to deadlift ego with. Lena popped up with a "sure," like it was nothing. 10 minutes. 15. 20. Mom frowned at the clock. They must be chatting. I started stacking plates just to move. On my way to the kitchen I stopped by the cellar door. Something in me went still, like an animal hearing a branch crack. You know how a house has a smell? My parents' place always smells like lemon cleaner and old wood. The stairwell smelled like my father's aftershave. And, God, I caught the top note of Lena's perfume under it, blended in a way I'd never noticed before. My face went hot. I told myself I was being insane, jealous, making shit up. I took 2 steps down. Quiet voices. Not words, not at first. Just the sound of a woman trying to keep her voice low and a man who's too confident to whisper properly. I took 1 more step. Footfalls. A thump. Then Lena, breathless and too bright, "We should get back." My father, amused, low. "Relax. They're busy." I turned around so fast I almost slipped. When they finally came up, they were both red-cheeked. Dad had that sloppy, satisfied smile he wears after a birdie. Lena's lipstick had a faint smear. She dabbed it, but not well. I stared at the smear like it was a fire alarm. She brushed past me with the case of wine like nothing happened. Dad clapped my shoulder. "Help your old man with the glasses, champ." Champ. The same word he used when I was 9 and he accidentally let me lose at chess. In the kitchen Lena looked at me too hard. "You okay?" she asked like I'd made a face. I lied. "Headache." She kissed my temple. I flinched. And then I smelled it on her skin. Not just perfume. My father's aftershave. The one in the squat blue bottle he's used forever. The one Mom gives him every December. On the drive home Lena talked about how sweet my mom looked blowing out candles. I stared at the road and replayed the stairwell in my head on loop until my palms hurt from gripping the wheel. In our bedroom she peeled off her dress, tossed it at the chair and yawned. "I'm dead," she said, crawling under the duvet. I went to the bathroom and washed my hands like I'd touched something poisonous. When I came out she was half asleep. "Love you," she murmured. I lay down next to the woman I married and stared into the dark. If I confronted her right then she'd cry, deny, gaslight, and then lock down. If I went after him he'd laugh it off, call me dramatic, maybe even spin it so I looked like the jealous son who can't share attention. I needed certainty. I needed the kind of proof you can't talk around. And if what I felt in that stairwell was real, then those two weren't in mistake territory. They were in pattern territory. Patterns leave evidence. At 2:47 a.m., while Lena slept, I walked to the living room, opened my laptop, and created a new email with a name boring enough to put a CPA to sleep. I spun up a drive, labeled a folder appliances_warranty, and stared at the empty directory until my heartbeat finally slowed. Then I ordered a set of Wi-Fi outlets that monitor power usage, pinhole cams, a pair of AirTags, and a doorbell I'd wanted to upgrade anyway, this one with a very generous field of view. I put my phone down and stared at the ceiling until dawn carved the blinds into gray ribs. The next morning, Lena made eggs and asked if I could take her car for a wash because it's covered in pollen. I smiled, took her keys, and felt something click into place behind my teeth. In the garage I opened the center console to grab quarters and found a folded napkin from a bar near my dad's golf club with a number scrawled on it and the word Tuesday, in handwriting I knew as well as my own. I put the napkin back like it burned. When I returned the car, Lena kissed me light as air. My phone buzzed with a shipping confirmation. "Your order is on the way." Good. Because if my wife and my father had decided to spit on the word family, I was going to teach them both what that word could do when it bared its teeth. The cameras arrived 3 days later. Small, discreet, the kind of gadgets marketed as smart home convenience, but made for people like me, people who need to know. I told Lena they were for monitoring energy usage and finally lowering the bill. She rolled her eyes, kissed me and said, "You and your gadgets." Good. Let her think I was being my usual boring, practical self. The first cam went behind the TV in the living room, angled to catch anyone coming through the front hallway. The second I tucked into a bookshelf in the den, where Lena liked to take calls. The AirTag slipped into her tote bag easily, disguised under a sewn-on patch I pretended to fix for her. And the doorbell? Oh, the doorbell was my masterpiece. Full HD night vision cloud backup. It saw everything on the porch. Everything. For a week, nothing. Just Lena working, me working, dinners together, the normal rhythm of life. I almost convinced myself I'd overreacted. Almost. Then one Thursday around 2 p.m. my phone buzzed. Motion alert, front door. I was in a meeting, camera off, headset on. I tapped the notification. My father. Standing on my porch, casual as anything, polo shirt tucked into chinos, holding a bag from that same golf club bar. Lena opened the door in sweats, hair up, no makeup, but the smile she gave him wasn't casual. It was the kind of smile that says, "I've been waiting." He stepped inside. My stomach went hollow. I muted my mic, pretended to troubleshoot connection issues, and switched feeds. Living room camera. There they were, hugging in the hallway. Too long. Too close. His hand slid low on her back. She didn't move it. She tilted her face up. I wanted to punch through my laptop screen. Instead, I hit record. The clip went straight to my appliances_warranty folder, renamed HVAC_inspection_01.mov. 10 minutes later, they moved into the den. My bookshelf cam caught just enough. Lena on the couch, his hand on her thigh. She whispered something. He laughed, that smug laugh, the one that used to make clients sign checks. I couldn't hear the words, but I didn't need to. I knew that body language. I'd seen it before, on dates when she used to look at me that way. They disappeared down the hallway toward the guest room. My pulse hammered. The feed didn't cover that far. But when they came back 30 minutes later, Lena's hair was messy, her sweatshirt inside out. My father looked 10 years younger. I ended my fake meeting early, sat in my office chair, and stared at the frozen frame of them walking back down the hall like nothing in the world was wrong. My hands shook. My jaw ached from clenching. But under all of that was something colder. Not just pain. Not just anger. Purpose. That night, Lena curled up against me in bed. "You've been quiet lately," she said softly. "Work stress." I kissed the top of her head. "Yeah. Just work." And as she drifted off to sleep, I stared at the ceiling and thought, "You have no idea." None at all. By Sunday, the drive folder had 6 clips. Enough to end a marriage. Enough to end a family. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Because I didn't just want them caught. I wanted them destroyed. From the outside, nothing changed. I was still the dutiful husband, the obedient son. I called my dad for our usual Sunday check-in, cracked jokes about football, even asked if he wanted to grab a beer sometime soon. He said sure, like nothing had happened, like he hadn't been balls deep in my wife 3 days earlier. My knuckles went white gripping the phone. I forced a laugh. "Sounds good, Dad." With Lena, I doubled down on sweet husband mode. Flowers on a random Tuesday, takeout from her favorite Thai place, rubbing her shoulders when she pretended to be sore from workouts. She leaned into it, soaking up the comfort like nothing was rotting under the surface. If anything, she got sloppier. She left her phone on the nightstand while showering. Notifications popped up from Michelle, which would have been convincing if Michelle didn't text things like, "Still thinking about last time. Tuesday again?" I screenshotted every single one, emailed them to my burner. Drive folder renamed, washer under warranty. Subfolder, parts. Inside. My future weapon. At family gatherings, I played dumb so well it could have won me an Oscar. We had dinner at my parents' place one Friday. Mom was glowing, laughing, pouring wine, totally oblivious. Dad cracked some dumb joke about Lena's cooking, and she smacked his arm playfully. Too playfully. Their eyes met half a second too long. My stomach churned, but I kept smiling. "You're right, Dad. Her lasagna's criminal." Everyone laughed. Nobody noticed me watching them like a hawk. What made it worse? The bastard wasn't even subtle anymore. He'd call me champ while giving Lena that grin. He'd pour her wine before pouring Mom's. He thought he was untouchable. That arrogance was going to be his undoing. I started digging into Dad's life the same way I dug into Lena's. Bank records, social media, his golf buddies. Turns out he wasn't just cheating on mom with Lena. There were others. Cocktail waitresses, business dinners, you name it. The man had a trail and I was more than willing to follow it. By week 6, I had enough material to nuke both of them. Video clips, texts, receipts, overlapping alibis. If I hit send on a single email, the entire family would collapse. But I didn't want collapse. I wanted spectacle. I wanted the truth to bleed out in front of everyone they loved, with nowhere to run. So I wore the mask. Day after day, smile after smile. I told Dad I'd help plan their wedding anniversary party in 2 months. He grinned, clapped me on the back, called me the best son a man could ask for. Lena kissed me that night, whispering, "I don't know what I'd do without you." In my head, I pictured them standing side by side when I ripped the mask off in front of everyone. Mom, my siblings, friends, hell, maybe even the neighbors. A full audience for the greatest betrayal act in the history of our family. Every time Lena moaned softly in her sleep, every time Dad texted me like nothing was wrong, I reminded myself, wait. Patience. The trap's already built. Now let them walk into it. The thing about revenge is it tastes better when it's served cold, planned, plated, and garnished with a little spectacle. My dad and mom's 35th wedding anniversary was coming up. Big milestone. Mom wanted something classy but intimate. Dad, oh, he wanted grand. Let's make it unforgettable, he told me, patting my back with that smug grin. I nearly laughed in his face. Unforgettable? Oh, Dad, you have no idea. I volunteered to handle the technical side. Projector, slideshow, music. Everyone clapped me on the back for being so thoughtful. Even Lena chimed in, "You're amazing." She kissed me right there in my parents' kitchen. My father smirked at me while her lips were still on mine. My fists itched, but I smiled instead. "Just want Mom to have the best night of her life," I said. He raised his glass. "That's my boy." Behind the scenes, I worked like a man possessed. Every clip from the cams, every text, every photo, every receipt, I cut them together. Chronological. Methodical. A slow build from suspicion to certainty to undeniable truth. I even added captions, dates, times, locations. It wasn't just evidence. It was a goddamn documentary. But I wanted more than just their affair. I wanted the full rot exposed. So I pulled in the other dirt I dug up on Dad. Hotel bills from Vegas, receipts from business dinners, that were anything but texts from women whose names Mom had never heard. This wasn't going to be a scandal. It was going to be a funeral for his reputation. The night before the party, Lena was in bed scrolling her phone, smirking at something I didn't want to know about. "You ready for tomorrow?" she asked. "Your parents are lucky to have you organizing it." I nodded, kissing her forehead. "Yeah. Tomorrow's going to change everything." She laughed softly. Dramatic. I slipped out to the living room with my laptop, triple-checked the files, tested the projector. Slide 1. Wedding photos of Mom and Dad, smiling, young, naive. The audience would coo. Then slowly the cracks. Dinner receipts, hotel bills, texts, videos. And then, Lena. Her face, his face, their hands, their bodies. Betrayal laid bare. The final slide? A simple black screen with 2 words in bold white. Happy anniversary. I sat back, staring at the glow of the screen in the dark. Tomorrow the house would be full of family, friends, neighbors. Mom would be there, glowing with pride. My siblings, aunts, uncles. And in front of all of them, I'd burn down the illusion my father and my wife had built brick by brick. The stage was set. The mask was in place. And when the lights dimmed, 2 people I once loved would finally understand what it feels like to be gutted in public. I closed the laptop, exhaled slowly, and whispered to myself, "Let's make it unforgettable." The night of the anniversary party felt like walking into a play I had written but hadn't told anyone else their lines. Mom was radiant, her hair done up, wearing the pearl necklace Dad bought her on their 10th. She hugged me tight at the door. "Thank you for organizing all this, sweetheart." I kissed her cheek, my chest twisting. She deserved better than what was about to happen, but she also deserved the truth. The house filled up fast. Siblings, cousins, old friends from the neighborhood, even a couple of Dad's retired co-workers. People laughed, drank wine, told stories about the good old days. Dad worked the room like a politician, handshakes and booming laughter. That silver fox charm turned to full volume. Lena was by his side too often, brushing against him just a little too casually. Once, I caught her touching his wrist while he poured her a drink. Subtle. Too subtle for anyone else. Not for me. I smiled, shook hands, clapped shoulders, played the role of dutiful son. "Wait till you see the slideshow," I told people. "I think you'll love it." They laughed, expecting nostalgia. They had no idea. Dinner passed in a blur. Toast, speeches, mom crying happy tears. Dad made some joke about how marriage is hard work but worth it, and everyone chuckled. My jaw ached from clenching, but I forced myself to smile. Finally, as plates were cleared and people shifted toward the living room, I stood up. Before dessert, I put together something special, I said. A slideshow. Memories from over the years. Cheers, claps, people raising their glasses. Mom dabbed her eyes with a napkin. Dad clapped me on the back. "That's my boy," he said again. The lights dimmed. The projector hummed. The first slides came up. Dad and Mom on their wedding day, young and glowing. The audience sighed and murmured happily. Photos of family trips, Christmas mornings, backyard barbecues. Everyone laughed, pointed, reminisced. Mom squeezed Dad's hand, eyes shining. Then the tone shifted. A receipt appeared on the screen. Marriott Hotel, 2 guests, 1 night, charged to Dad's card. Date: 2 months ago. The room went quiet. People chuckled nervously, waiting for the next slide. Another receipt. Another hotel. Another date. Whispers. Uneasy shifting. Dad's smile faltered. Mom's brow furrowed. Then came the text. "Last night was incredible. You drive me crazy." Dad's name at the top of the screen, the messages in crisp white bubbles. Gasps broke the silence. A cousin muttered, "Holy shit." The next slide hit harder. Footage. My living room from the bookshelf cam. Dad and Lena, arms around each other. Her whispering, him laughing. Gasps turned to shouts. Chairs scraped. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. "No," she whispered. And then the coup de grace. Footage of them coming out of the guest room, her sweatshirt inside out, his face smug, both of them looking like teenagers sneaking out of detention. The room erupted. "What the fuck?" someone yelled. Mom stood, trembling, eyes wide with horror. Dad tried to speak, but the roar drowned him out. Lena sat frozen, face pale, lipstick trembling on her mouth. The final slide appeared. "Happy anniversary." Silence followed, heavy as lead. I stepped forward, glass in hand, and said evenly, "To 35 years of lies. Congratulations, Dad. Congratulations, Lena. You deserve each other." The second the words left my mouth, the entire room detonated. Mom screamed, not just cried, not just gasped. She screamed like something inside her had been ripped out. She shoved her chair back so hard it toppled, pointing a shaking finger at Dad. "How could you?" My siblings shot to their feet, wide-eyed. My sister looked at Lena with pure disgust. "You bitch. You absolute bitch." Dad stammered, It's not what it looks like." The oldest line in the cheater's playbook, and the room tore into him for it. "Not what it looks like?" my brother shouted. "We just saw you with your son's wife." A cousin muttered, "Jesus Christ, Bob?" shaking his head like he was watching a car crash in slow motion. Lena tried to grab my arm, her face wet with tears. Please, we can talk about this." I ripped my arm away. "Talk? You fucked my father in my house." The words rang like a gunshot. The neighbors in the back gasped, some covering their mouths, others glaring daggers at her. Mom was sobbing uncontrollably, clutching her pearls, literally, like they were the only thing holding her upright. 35 years, Bob. 35 years you've been lying to me?" She turned to me, eyes full of agony. "And her? With her?" Dad stepped forward, hands raised like he could still spin this. "Margaret, listen, it was a mistake, it didn't mean anything." "Didn't mean anything?" my sister screamed. "You've been doing this for months. Everyone just saw it." Lena broke then, sobbing, mascara running down her cheeks. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It just happened, I didn't mean." "You didn't mean to climb into bed with my dad?" I snapped. "You didn't mean to spread your legs in the guest room?" Gasps again. Someone muttered, "Oh my God," like they couldn't believe the words were real. Dad lost his temper then, the mask finally cracking. "You little shit, you think you're some kind of hero embarrassing me like this?" He jabbed a finger at me, red-faced. "You don't understand what it means to be a man." I laughed. I fucking laughed in his face. "If being a man means screwing your son's wife and destroying your own marriage, then you're damn right I don't want to understand." The room turned on him then. Friends he'd known for decades looked away, ashamed. Aunts and uncles whispered furiously. Mom collapsed into a chair, hands shaking so bad someone had to get her water. My brother squared up, fists clenched, and for a moment I thought he'd swing at Dad right there in the living room. "And Lena?" She tried to speak again, but Mom snapped at her, a sound I'd never heard from my mother in my life. "Get out of my house." Silence fell. The Final. Lena looked at me, eyes pleading, searching for something, anything. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Just let her see exactly how dead she was to me. She stumbled toward the door. Dad tried to follow, but my brother blocked him. Sit the fuck down. The old man froze, for once in his life with no power left to wield. The party was over. But the fallout? The fallout was only just beginning. The party ended in chaos. Guests filtered out in clusters, whispering, some casting me sympathetic glances, others openly glaring at Dad and Lena. Mom refused to move from her chair. She just sat there, shaking, staring at her wedding ring like it was a shackle she couldn't get off fast enough. My sister helped her upstairs, muttering curses under her breath. My brother stayed in the living room, jaw tight, daring Dad to even breathe wrong. Lena followed me to the driveway as I left. She grabbed my arm, sobbing, "Please, please, you don't understand, it wasn't just about him, I still love you." I pulled my arm free so hard she stumbled. "Love? You let my father crawl into your bed. You spat in my face every time you came home smiling. Don't you dare say that word to me again." She dropped to her knees right there on the pavement, mascara streaks running down her face, begging. I walked to my car, got in, and drove away without another word. In the rearview mirror, she looked like a crumpled shadow under the porch light. The next morning my phone blew up. Texts from relatives, half in disbelief, half in support. "I can't believe Bob did that to your mom. Stay strong. If you need a place, you're welcome here." Some didn't even mention Lena. It was like she'd been erased already. Mom called me 2 days later, her voice raw and hoarse. "I'm filing for divorce," she said, simple as that. 35 years down the drain. He's out of the house. Change the locks. Lawyer tomorrow. I told her I'd be there for anything she needed. She started crying, whispering, "I just can't believe he did this with her. With your wife." I didn't have an answer for that. There wasn't one. As for Dad, the mighty silver fox? His empire crumbled overnight. Mom froze the accounts. My brother cut him off. Old friends stopped returning his calls. Even his golf club buddies dropped him when the whispers spread. One of his oldest colleagues texted me, "He always thought with his dick." This time it cost him everything. Lena tried one more time. Showed up at our house while I was packing a bag. She stood in the doorway hollow-eyed, whispering, "We can fix this. We can go to therapy. I'll do anything." I laughed, a bitter, ugly sound. "You fucked my dad. There's no therapy for that." Her face collapsed like a building in slow motion. I walked past her, suitcase in hand, and didn't look back. Within a week I'd filed for divorce too. My lawyer grinned when I handed over the folder of evidence. "Jesus," she said, flipping through. "I've seen cheaters, but your dad?" She shook her head. "This is going to be ugly for them." "Good for you." Word spread. Lena's friends ghosted her. Our neighbors whispered. Her own family stopped answering her calls. She went from polished and confident to hollow and broken in record time. Last I heard, she was crashing on a cousin's couch, job performance slipping, reputation in flames. And Dad? He tried calling me once. Just once. His voicemail was shaky, pathetic. "Son, we need to talk. I made a mistake. I love you. Don't cut me out." I deleted it before it even finished. Because here's the truth, sometimes family isn't blood. Sometimes family is just the people who don't gut you for their own selfish urges. And as I sat in my apartment that first night alone, staring at the quiet walls, I realized, I may have lost a wife and a father. But really I just lost 2 liars I was better off without. And neither of them even saw it coming. It's been 6 months since the night everything burned down. People always ask me if I regret it, if maybe I went too far, if maybe it would have been better to keep it private. But here's the thing, betrayal like theirs doesn't deserve privacy. It deserves exposure. It deserves ruin. Mom finalized her divorce last month. She's lighter now, freer, even laughing again when she tells stories at dinner. She sold the house and moved into a condo closer to my sister. "Fresh start," she told me with a smile. For the first time in decades, she doesn't wear that wedding ring. And she looks 10 years younger without it. Dad. He's a ghost. The once proud man who strutted around calling me champ, now lives in a rented apartment above a strip mall. His reputation's shot, his golf buddies gone, his career contacts won't return his calls. He tried showing up at Mom's once with flowers, begging, but she shut the door in his face. My brother told me he saw him at a bar alone, nursing cheap whiskey, looking like someone half dead. I felt nothing. Lena's gone too. The divorce went through fast, she didn't even fight. With the evidence I had, she couldn't. Last I heard, she moved out of state, bouncing between temp jobs. A mutual friend said she's thinner, quieter, avoids eye contact when people ask about me. I don't care. She made her bed. She can lie in it. Sometimes, late at night, I replay the slideshow in my head. The gasps, the screams, the way Dad's face went pale, the way Lena's lips trembled. People tell me revenge doesn't heal. Maybe they're right. The pain's still there. The hole where trust used to be will probably never close. But I'll tell you this, revenge gave me something else. It gave me clarity. It gave me proof that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't paranoid. They really were that vile. And now the whole world knows it too. So no, I don't regret it. Not 1 second. If anything, I wish I'd set the trap sooner. Because in the end, family is supposed to protect you, love you, stand by you. My wife and my father chose to destroy me instead. And now, they're the ones choking on the ashes of what they burned. I'm still here. Stronger. Smarter. Free. And they'll never escape the night their lies were lit up on a screen for everyone to see. The end.